Merry meet and welcome. I'm Taylor and today we're going to be taking on the chocolate cake from Sims 4. So this is a level 1 cake and there's so many different ways to make cake. So we're just trying to do all the different varieties that we can. So for this one, we're going to start off nice and easy. It is a level 1 cake and shockingly enough, both of these are vegan. So just by checking the ingredients, you're able to see that they use like cocoa powder instead of anything that has like milk chocolate in it, and it's really great for that. If I missed something and you guys are like, nope, they're known for this and that, let me know. I'm always willing to learn, but from what I could find, there was nothing that crossed them off the list. So we are literally going to go ahead and do this. And I guess probably one thing you're thinking about though is that it calls for eggs. And so all you have to do though is replace those. And what we're going to do, again, because there's many ways that you can replace eggs, for this particular recipe I'm going to do chia eggs. So they're made very similarly to flax eggs, if you've heard those. With that, let's go ahead and get started. Merry meet again. So here I have 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. In here I actually have a lot of chia seeds, so whenever I can I try to use them because I was at a point in my life where I'm like, I'm gonna eat this all the time, and I just didn't realize actually like how few chia seeds you use in recipes. Like, it feels like you're using so much because it's like it's gonna take up all of it. No, like I literally got like a pound of chia seed. It was too much. Good news is they stay good for 5 years. Anyways, enough about that interlude. So I have them here. You don't need to do this step. This is a mortar and pestle, and I'm just going to crush a few of them, because really they'll soak up the water without being crushed, unlike like brown flax seeds, or I'm sorry, unlike flax seeds, because I don't have them. My cat's playing with his toy upstairs. I don't have them pre-ground, so I always have to grind them, and so this just gives me like similar vibes as making the flax egg. And also I am impatient, so I would love for it to absorb water much faster. So I'm just crunching this a little bit, and I truly mean a little bit. Like, I can hear the crunches, but I'm also talking, so you guys probably can't. And yeah, and then this 2 tablespoons, we're going to add 5 tablespoons of water to it. Not in the mortar and pestle, we're going to move it into something else. Or water, you know, you've seen them. Those glass containers, those glass bowls. And we'll go ahead and let it sit there. And essentially what's going to happen is it's going to thicken up, and it's going to absorb that water, and it's going to help replace the egg, because the egg in this case is going to be more for binding. Since it's chocolate, and devil's food at that, I don't believe the richness is going to be very lost by using chia seeds. I also believe chia seeds do add a little bit of their own texture, and I think that'll help us in this moment. So again, just doing this lightly, just doing it for a few. I know this isn't like the proper way to use a mortar and pestle. I'm honestly just trying not to make a lot of noises because otherwise you can get kind of crazy with this. But alright, I'll go ahead and add the water. I'm going to put that off to the side so you guys won't see it again until it's ready to be added to our mix. See you then. Merry meet again. So we now have our chia egg done and ourselves all set up. So something to note about the chia egg, I forgot to completely mention at time. It happens so fast, especially since I did open it up. If you don't grind them, I'm not sure if it'll happen as fast, because honestly the speed shocked me. So I feel like it's not normal, but I'm not normally timing it. So that is a caveat. I mean, it was pretty amazing though. It was like instant, turn into a little bit more congealed, but the thing with that is, and I even added more water, so they'll just soak up more moisture, so we'll see, but it is definitely going to help bind together the rest of our ingredients. And then with that, this is something you can do with any recipe that really calls for water, I believe. Hold on, let me back up a step. Sometimes you can't, but like with the pancakes recipe, as well as with this recipe, really a lot of baking things are just things where it's like, oh, Could I use milk instead of this? Or will that compromise the flavor? Just think about that, because a lot of times too, if you're like out of something, you are able to supplement it with water. So anyways, just fun things when it comes to your liquids, you might be able to substitute them. For this one, it actually does say on the back that you can substitute it, which is interesting. And it even includes plant-based, so very fun. Although they don't have substitutions for eggs on the back, that would be way too cool, but they had them for the milk and oil. With that, I'm doing a cup of my pea protein, so I'm just going to make a little well here, make my life easier. Something else too, since this is pre-packaged, you can always empty out the package into a shifter. I don't like to do that because like helping beat out these other parts is what's going to help me feel like I've done a good job mixing. So, and I know some people are like, well, you can make your life easier. So I will just say that. I guess for authenticity, to make my life difficult, I don't know. We're doing this. I'm clearly in a like very weird place. Honestly, I have like been so angry. Like I like woke up this morning like, oh wow, what a great day, yay, and then went into just so much like frustration and anger and then anxiety to where like literally the only thing that helped was just like belting out songs. And yeah, and then I watched some funny videos and I'm here now. So I don't know exactly what changed, because I'm feeling like a lot more like upbeat. Maybe it's because I'm about to have chocolate. Let's find out. So I gestate with my hand a lot and there's powder on here. Okay, you're gonna see the side of the prep. I'm in the middle of some workplace stuff. So I just put like all of the dust powder over everything over here. Thankfully it's all easy to clean, but it's just so funny. Like, watch what you're doing. Alright, and then just a little bit behind the scenes, I have the camera on an arm, and so that was really nice swing back and forth. Back to our cake. So we're gonna add our cup of milk, and I love one pot cake mixes, or anything that you can just like throw all the ingredients in at once and don't really have to worry about it, because for that reason you don't really have to worry about it. We have our half a cup of oil. Something too about oil and milks that I have learned from mug cakes is that you can actually work with those ratios, because they are both something that's going to add fat and liquid into the recipe, and so you can play around with those two elements to get a different flavor. The oil tends to have a little bit of a more richness to it, versus the milk I feel adds that creaminess. So if you're depending on what flavor you're looking for, I would recommend playing around with that. Okay, and now for our chia egg. So this is 2 chia eggs. So it's 2 tablespoons. So it's 2 tablespoons and about 2 tablespoons of chia seeds and about 6 tablespoons of water, 5 to 6. And yes, so let me go ahead, grab this again. We're just a little chaotic, and it's okay. My mind, okay, so I used to make a lot of cakes, right? And when you're younger, you always start off with cake mixes. And my mind just now was just like, I need to break the yolks, because that was the first thing I always did, was break the yolks to make sure, because some people just like let them be there, and then I always got frustrated. But I didn't have as you can see, I still don't, and as you know, it's more for me to save room. But I didn't have a electric mixer, so it's all just done by hand. And even this, I'm now seeing like I probably could have shifted, because it does look a lot more lumpy than I expected. But I will say, because of the chia seeds, because they're kind of lumpy, like that is literally them. So we're actually seeing the chia seeds in here, and it's just kind of a lot and spread out rather than all just lumps. So that's the most I'm gonna trust this whisk. We're gonna move on to doing this one instead. And I like to get everything, but also, like, are you someone who licks the whisk or spoon and the bowl, or what do you do? Are you someone who's like, no, I definitely can't do that? Especially because like on these, there's no raw egg. You can do it. Okay. so we still have some that are in there. So something that I also was taught when I was younger is you want the back side of this spoon. So I also grew up using wooden spoons, not like spatulas like this. This one is one of our scooper ones too versus just straight. But they probably have technical terms. I don't know. But anyways, so you take the back side of the spoon and you essentially are going to smooth it out against here. And that's essentially what you're doing when you are stirring, to ensure that you're actually getting those, any dry clumps. It's also ensuring us right now that we got all of them. Okay, awesome. So it has been so long since I've made a cake mix. It's always a good idea to test it. If you don't like the consistency, especially with this chia egg, it is something very reasonable to go ahead and add more. You can also just add water if you don't want to add milk, right? If you're trying to keep certain things there, because the chia egg was made with water. So that's just what you're adding. I personally like this right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at this consistency, and I'm going to pour it into my bacon tins. And then we're going to go ahead and put it into the oven. All right, Merry Meet again. So oven is preheating at 350. It's just summer, so I didn't want it to just sit there and wait while I was getting everything else set up, because I wasn't sure how long the chia eggs were gonna take. I honestly thought they were gonna take like closer to like 5 or 10 minutes, not a minute. So with that, I do have our pans. These are new to me, so again, it is just me, so making a whole 2-tiered cake just for me is a little bit much, because I want it to look like The Sims. So I'm making a 2-tiered 4-inch cake for me, and then I'm also going to make some cupcakes. Comment below if you know what flag this is. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead. We're just going to scoop these in here, honestly. Oh. Got this for the cupcakes. But you never want to fill your cake pans all the way up. You want to do maybe about half. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Do I have a spout on this bowl, and is that why I use this bowl? Yes. Am I using that? No. So with the chia egg, I definitely will say it has a lot more like jelly texture, like gelatin. It's definitely congeals more. So if that is something that you are not interested in, just be mindful. Flax eggs, I think, just don't congeal as much. So, but we'll be using a flax egg in one of the other recipes to really test that out. Okay, so as you can see, it's about halfway, and then I'm just shaking it. You can tap to get out air bubbles. There's not really going to be much. Things aren't going to die, aren't going to be terrible for us if it doesn't perfectly even out. And again, just because it's so thick. So also, I don't know if I'm going to get like full cupcakes for this, because normally it just makes an actual batch of cupcakes. Pop. Yeah, so we're gonna see how this goes. Oh yeah, and I was saying I did oil these. Normally I don't oil my pans because I'm pretty used to them just like today's technology, having them be able to just slip right out, as long as you like take care of your pans and like clean them and stuff, and don't burn anything on them. And since these are new, in theory they should be fine, but also because they're new, maybe not. So I did oil just in case, because better safe than sorry. Yeah, I'm probably only gonna get like 6 cupcakes. I'll remove like half those liners. And then since I'm going to be baking both of these at the same time, I am going to kind of test them differently. And I'm just going to treat them as individuals. You can test your cake. It's not like, oh, definitely put it in the oven for this long. Like, you can use a butter knife, you can use a toothpick to just make sure it comes out completely dry. That's one of the best parts about cakes. So, because unlike me, you might actually just be making a full tier cake. Or you might just be making cupcakes. So you might be able to actually follow the cooking recipes. This is also 4 inches. I've never cooked 4-inch tiers before. I'm very excited, like unbelievably excited. Okay, so they're maybe a little bit more than half now that they've settled. Maybe closer to like, they're like a little over half. They're not even 3/4 of the way. So, but that's my point. Like, I want to give it enough room to rise and hopefully be good. I'm honestly, man, I'm really questioning myself right now. Why? Worst case scenario, it overflows. And I totally recommend this. Again, I'm just like, the things that have like evolved since like cooking, you would think like I would have been more on top of things as they're coming out and been like, ooh, new kitchen gadget dropped. Instead, I like, actually, when I got sick and couldn't eat dairy and eggs for about a year, it was, I stopped cooking, I stopped baking, and it actually took like a lot of, like I used Purple Carrot, a meal prep thing, to help me just get back into that like energy of wanting to cook, because my relationship with food was so intense and I felt so betrayed, which is ridiculous. It's food. And so it's just been like a really good healing journey. Something too I'll share with this, I know this is like during the middle of chocolate cake one, but like there's just so much food out there and so many different recipes that we can try that don't have any kind of plant-based or any kind of like meat or animal products in it, and it's just amazing. And I just think based off of our stations in life, we sometimes get stuck in just seeing what's in the grocery store versus seeing what's out in the world. Anyways, TED Talk over. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna try to do these cupcakes now. So these are really good for mini ones too. Like this is a mini scoop. If you have a full, I don't have a full-on ice cream scoop, so I just use this and do 2 of these. And then if you have a mini pan, you just need a 1 scoop. And then if you have a regular ice cream scoop, you can just use the ice cream scoop. But I feel like I got this from DC Cupcakes. I can't remember because like that was literally during my formative years when that was on. And I feel like I remember my mom also commenting on it, and I feel like she got it from DC Cupcakes and then I also saw it there, you know? But yeah. Some people just work smarter, not harder. Did you ever hear that one thing where there was like an article, probably a decade old now, where it said like, oh, don't hire people who are like good workers, hire lazy workers, because they're gonna find out how to become more efficient. And it's essentially a way, if you think about it, like nowadays how it's like, oh, work your wage. And so ever since that article came out, if you think about it, wages have gotten like worse and worse, and like working your wage has gotten worse to where people just give them more projects and they're like, oh wow, you really got this figured out, like here you go, here's like an idea you can do, take some initiative if you want a promotion, which is also one of the biggest things ever, like competition. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into all of the toxicness of the corporate world. I can give advice. So that is something I can do. I used to do a lot of coaching and training, and I really just like to see people succeed. And apparently that's weird. Anyways, I was literally telling you about something else. Oh my gosh. Well, maybe she will voice over at this point. Dude, I literally cannot remember. I'm trying so hard right now. Which is like, normally I'm just like, oh, right. Must not have been a good story. I'm like going back to the vegetables. I'm like, why did I even bring up working there? Oh my gosh, I feel so stupid right now. Cool. You know, it wouldn't even matter if I wasn't recording. Oh well, at least we can still laugh at ourselves, right? Okay, sorry, I was just getting all of the extra batter off of the spatula. Like, look at my efficiency in this bowl. Oh my gosh, look at that. So with them hiring lazy people to make their jobs a lot more efficient, what they did is they essentially got free thinkers for paying them minimum wage, but in reality, people who change the structure in workplaces are people who are typically so much higher up that it's like 4 or 5 positions away from you, and like project management and things like that. And you're just out here doing those things for free for these companies. And I think that's one of the reasons, and I'm wondering, I should say, if that's one of the reasons why the workplace has gotten so bad, in addition to everything else, because there's so many factors. So many factors. But yeah, just a reminder, work your wage, y'all. And remind yourself who you're making money for sometimes. I had to do that a couple times to really be like, huh, yeah. Also, like, I don't believe, like, I truly do believe, like, there was a study done, so, this may shock you. No, I hope it doesn't, but I am certified in the science of well-being, and in that course they actually share a study where they talk about the fact that people, if offered $100,000 a year, but their coworker would get $250,000 a year, or would they like to take $50,000 a year and, $50,000 a year, and their coworker will get $25,000. And like, it literally, the statistic was crazy, because it was like at least 70%, I want to say, of people being like, oh, I'll take the 50% just so that that other person does not succeed. I don't have enough to make a full extra cupcake, so I'm just going to add some of these to the other areas. Actually, I'm just going to lick the rest of this. Not straight out of the bowl, but, you know, we're going to scoop it up into a little bowl and serve it for ourselves. Anyways, so that's going to be that. I'm going to take these guys away, and we're going to throw these into the oven for, I'm going to check on them in probably 10 minutes. Again, that's my typical go-to, but anyways, we'll tell you after how long it took us. I'll see you then. Merry meet again. So we have our cakes. They've just been chilling, quite literally, on this wire rack. And now we're gonna go ahead and decorate. We're gonna do it very simply because this is still supposed to be a level 1. And so I'm gonna challenge myself to do a little bit extra, but let's go ahead and just get a crumb coat, and then we're actually gonna put it in the fridge to cool some more. It's a lot softer than I thought it would have been. Is devil's food notoriously soft? It's been so long since I've worked with cake, like I'm like, I really can't remember anything. Also, because I don't have a cake stand, I didn't like put this down on anything, so it is slipping and sliding, so that's fun. You know, I'm gonna actually go ahead, I'm gonna grab a plate. Okay, so we'll slip and slide this one first, since it has more on it right now. Oh, this is what I mean. It's been so long since I've done any kind of cake decorating. I even still watch it, so you'd think I'd be like, oh, here you go. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm not a professional. We're not here to pretend to be a professional. We're just embarrassed about ourselves. So we're putting a little icing there to help us stick it. We're gonna do this one because it doesn't have as much on it. And then normally what you would do is put like a good layer in between these. So I do have a silicone bag. I'm just not choosing to use it yet, because I'd rather just use it, put the icing in there and use it when I'm going to be doing a lot more. So I am ridiculously trying to put some on here. The problem is that it's just not staying, and that's part of the good thing about using a bag, is you're able to get the stuff off of your thing rather than it trying to stick to each other. So I'm trying to think. I feel like I have a lot of icing. Like, I honestly use this to eat a strawberry snack, so I wasn't expecting to have enough, so I'm gonna try and actually make this a decent middle filling here. I want to put it more towards the center so that I can ooze out of the sides. That looks good, and we're just gonna put this on top. Okay, it is so soft, dudes. I'm calling you guys dudes a lot today. I hope you know that I mean it in a non-gender way. that's it. I used to hate whenever they would be like, dude and dudettes. Like, okay, we get it. Dude was really cool and popular. It's okay. I also have like another scraper I totally could practice using. I really did think this would just go a lot more simpler if I'm being honest. Okay, but I will say, to get the sides, it is... you can't see it, but it is coming out of the middle a little bit, but that's okay. Oh, I know what I did. I did it opposite, because sometimes you can do it from the top. Oh, and it's not sticking to the plate. Sometimes you can do it from the top and then be able to have it go down the sides and smooth it out, and it's all really great and dandy. This isn't even focused. Okay. So we're gonna kind of do that. There's this giant blob right here. So the other thing that you can do though is you actually ice the sides, and then as you're thinning it out, it comes up onto the top. Oh my gosh, I should have just splurged for the cake stand. I was like, I don't need it for this tiny cake. I'm not going to be making that many cakes. It'll be fine. This is ridiculous. And part of it being ridiculous is just because, like, you want to add pressure to the cake to be able to get this thinness. Of course, right where I touch it. Anyways, to get this thinness, but it's moving, so it's not sticking. So this is what we're going to do now. It's all pretty much on the sides. It's just pivot into what makes sense for us, because we're just putting this into the fridge or freezer if you want more time, and we just want it to chill, and then we're going to actually somewhat decorate it. I might even put more icing. Maybe not. Maybe I use the rest of the icing, you know, for the cupcakes. For the other things. Because I was just like, I was saying I use it for some chocolate covered strawberries that I was like just dipping into and stuff. So what I'm going to do is, I don't believe I'm going to get this perfect, and that is irritating to me. So what I am going to say though is, besides the very bottom of this, which what we'll do is we'll practice our piping on that area especially. So yeah, but this ultimately, it also is summer, so it is very hot, and so I'm actually challenging, oh my gosh. So I'm actually challenging myself by not just trying to get a smooth layer, and so I'm actually going to do some minor piping, and I'll give you guys a side view when we get to that point. For now, we're going to go ahead, pop this into the fridge, allow it to cool. You don't need to do all these extra steps. I mean, if you're really wanting to present it to someone, you can. If this is just for you, I was just gonna say, like, I don't know how many times I have done something and I use it and I am like, why would I bake this, get my house all hot, when I can just eat this batter? So this is really like just going to the next level for even baking it, and then this level of coverage is totally fine. You totally can put this in the fridge, put it onto a cleaner plate afterwards, and it'll be great. We're just challenging ourselves because it's been so long, and also because we are going to be making the hamburger cake, so we will eventually need to do some kind of like decorating piping, so we're going to be using the other cakes to help us get to that point. I will stop rambling, put this in the fridge, and we will be back. Alright, so here it is after being chilled. I'm not going to smooth it out more. I actually think it looks just fine because it's not going to be seen by anyone but you and I. And also it is leaning a little bit. You can kind of see when I turn it that way. But I'm really not concerned. I think I'm pretty proud of myself. It's getting kind of like late for me. Like, I'm just tired. Like, this has kind of been a longer project than I wanted it to be, and I did it towards the end of my day, which makes sense. It is a dessert. But normally I do these videos in the morning when I can dedicate more of my energy to it, and I'm just feeling kind of tired. So with that, we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna try and pipe a little design on here. I found these silicone piping bags. I've never used them before. They have this little coupler so that you can change out the tips here, but then of course you can scrape out the bag as well as ensure that you are rinsing the bag and help save plastic. So very excited to try. Yeah, let's go ahead and we're gonna just see what happens. Here we go. Oops, so much harder when you can't turn it. Not bad for someone who doesn't know what they're doing though. And it's so hard to see it on camera. Our tripod just lost one of its legs. Please hold, please hold. Okay, welcome back. So hopefully you can see that detail a little bit. So not the best. I'm actually even going in the opposite direction, and definitely if I would have smoothed out the sides more. So I should have done a true crumb coat, and it's more my impatience too, and I think that's just part of it. So and also I realized part of the reason why this putting it on here is they use cake board typically to put something down where it has some grit that the icing gets into, as well as the grit of the cake itself that it gets into, versus a plate where it doesn't have any grit that the icing can really sink into to actually cement it. Like, it's not actually glue where it dries, right? It is icing that still moves around on a plate. So just some things, but I'm actually like feeling pretty good. I wish you could see, yeah, that's probably one of the best ones. I was gonna say I wish you could see like the interior though, but let's go ahead. We're going to do some on the bottom, and we are going to have to turn as we do it and kind of not have it look as pretty, unfortunately. But does it look like more professional than if it didn't have it? 100%. We're running out of icing. No. Hold on. Okay, so a little mess up. So we'll show this side, because I think, I should have done it with the best side, because now it's like all lopsided. It kind of looks like a hill. Like if I was actually truly decorating this, I probably could add like green flowers and stuff to it, make it look more like a dirt mound or something like that, and do something fun. But this is our chocolate cake. Let's go ahead and we'll cut into it and see what the slice looks like. For 2 tiers, that's the one thing, because they're 4 by 2, you know. So it's like to truly cut a cake in the center. And then we'll okay, so this icing, it's so sticky, so not the prettiest inside. Sorry, we have such a weird angle here. This is actually upside down, so you can't really see the icing in the center because it kind of did scoop out. But I definitely feel like there is plenty of icing on the side because I'm not a big icing person. So this is like perfect for me. Is this a weird angle? Yes. Is my camera battery dying? Also yes. So that's going to be our Sims 4 chocolate cake at a level 1. Maybe as we get better, our level 1s will look a lot better. You know, maybe this is the poor version. Oh my gosh. Unlocking. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.